Homage to the fundamental teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. Homage to the wisdom warrior Manjushri. Homage to all the benevolent lineage masters. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million eons. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize the Tathagata's true meaning. We will take a few lessons to learn about the qualities of the seven-line prayer. Nippon Rinpoche made an explanation of the seven-line prayer called the White Lotus. The White Lotus consists of several parts. The text starts with the outer practice, followed by the inner and secret practices. The later part is explained on a rather profound level. This time, I will give a brief explanation of the outer practice that belongs to tantric level. So it is best to receive the empowerment before listening to this teaching. But if you have not received any tantric empowerment, it will be best for you to have the conviction in Padmasambhava and tantric practice for getting this teaching. Otherwise, if you have mistaken Vajrayana as a path leading to evilness, or that Tantra is nonsense, if you have such wrong views, it will be inappropriate to receive this teaching, because it might not bring you any good. Every year, we will introduce some tantric teachings, including the practices, pith instructions, as well as the respective qualities to develop Dharma practitioners in the academy. This teaching belongs to the tantric practice, but a simpler one. It's also an introduction of the qualities on the seven-line prayer recitation. There is also a situation where many Dharma brothers and sisters end up rejecting or even slandering Vajrayana due to the lack of understanding of the history and the qualities of Vajrayana. Therefore, when favorable conditions are in place, for instance, when there is no language barrier, it is very necessary that practitioners of Han Buddhism could learn about Tibetan Buddhism on a deeper level. Once you understand it, you will receive great benefits and your whole life will change. Without a comprehensive understanding, it's very possible that you may reject such profound teachings and even commit various negative karma. So I hope that you can cultivate a correct view towards Tantric Buddhism by learning about its historical origin and development, or finding out its ins and outs. After all, we are all wise people. When a wise man has a good understanding of Tantric Buddhism, one would not conform easily with the majority opinion, nor would one carelessly reject or denigrate it. This time, many Dharma friends had traveled a long way to our school for this course, which shows their eagerness for Dharma pursuit. But some only ask for instructions without having built the necessary groundwork. In that case, the tantric practice won't be easy for them. In fact, many Han practitioners, under the influence of their family and society, had little knowledge of the karmic principle, not to mention the knowledge of Vajrayana. Later, by the virtue of a certain karmic force, they enter Buddhism. No sooner than that, they enter the path of Tantrayana and immediately ask for the highest level of practice. But without laying the foundation, their minds change easily and are very likely to lose faith. This happens quite often. Hence, in order to protect ourselves from going astray, Dharma friends must take the gradual steps in realizing the tantric teachings, starting from the most fundamental practices, by first trying to learn about its logic and benefits, then move progressively towards the profound tantric practice. In this manner, our minds will transform for the betterment smoothly and will not regress easily on the path. This is extremely important. Indeed, many Dharma friends greatly value Dharma study. You have left many things behind. For example, your family, your job, and other concerns that you especially treasured in the past. You put them aside for Dharma pursuits in a quiet place. However, when following the Buddhist path, if you do not take each step one after another, the result won't be as optimal as you expected in the first place. In the end, you will be very disheartened. On one hand, many Dharma friends have great confidence in Vajrayana and deserve to receive the supreme pith instructions. But at the same time, we must be careful about which theory or which practice to start with. Otherwise, I'm afraid that the one who imparts the Dharma might regret it later, and students wouldn't benefit much from it either. If that is the case, no matter how extraordinary the teaching is, it brings almost no benefits. This is why the Buddha said in various sutras that one should teach in accordance with the student's aptitude. This is very important. In the past, many great masters in India and Tibetan regions understood well the inclinations and capacities of various people. Thereby, according to their different inclinations and capacities, the teacher adjusted teachings with different depths. But today, it is difficult for most people to be guided by such great masters. Anyway, we need to stay cautious and prudent little by little as we get to know the truth about Tantric Buddhism. We won't regress easily on the path. It is important to understand Tantric Buddhism, especially in these days. I've met some monastic teachers and intellectuals who studied and researched Tantric Buddhism. Yet, they lack the basic understanding of the history of Tantrayana and its practice, which turn their study into something merely academic. As a result, they did not benefit from the nectar of Tantric Buddhism. What a pity. So we must cultivate conviction in Tantric Buddhism. Thus, we will realize how supreme Vajrayana is. Actually, all branches of Buddhism are supreme. This is especially apparent for Tantric Buddhism. Take me for example. Through all these years of study, every learning of Tantric theory, every experience of engaging in Tantric practice, including mantra recitations, have strengthened my conviction in Vajrayana. Because I have realized that this is the very truth that my heart can resonate with. However, you should not regard Tantric Buddhism as something exotic, but with nothing profound or special about its teachings or practices. That is not true at all. For a wise man, the more one learns or practices Tantrayana, the more one realizes how extraordinary it is. Nowadays, Buddhism is widely acknowledged and accepted as being excellent among various philosophies and schools. From reading lots of books, I've noticed that either scientific researchers or those with a good understanding of different religions consider Buddhism to be very unique when they analyze from a fair and objective point of view. The first reason being that the Buddhist view of compassion is to treat all sentient beings equally, including mankind and all other beings. This view is unparalleled among other religions. The second reason being the inclusiveness and tolerance of the Buddhist wisdom that may not be found in other spiritual traditions. In other faiths, there are cases of promoting violence or afflictions. We can say that traces of all doctrines in the world can be found in the Buddhist teachings. I think that many of you already know that. The Geneva-based International Coalition for the Advancement of Religion and Spirituality held a conference in July 2009. Participants of this interfaith conference came from every part of the spiritual spectrum, such as the 5 major religions. More than 200 religious leaders attended this conference. And voted on the best religion in the world. When they voted, many religious leaders chose Buddhism instead of their own religion. As a result, in this International Coalition for the Advancement of Religion and Spirituality conference, the Buddhist community was bestowed this international award. Throughout history, this award is accredited and respected worldwide. After the announcement of the award winner, several reporters interviewed some members of this conference. A researcher from the organization said, it wasn't surprising for me that Buddhism won this award because there has never been a single war provoked in the name of Buddhism. This is different from other religions. Buddhists practice what they preach to a great extent. This was his comment. One of the members said, I really love my religion, but why did I vote for Buddhism? I'm somewhat disturbed to see that we preach love in our scripture, yet we claim to know God's will to kill other pagans. This was another comment. Other interviewees explained that although they really love their religion, they can see how much anger and bloodshed is channeled into religious expression rather than dealt with on the personal level. So they did not vote for their own religion, despite the fact that they all think their religion is very good. Some other members said that, although they are not Buddhist, they voted for the Buddhist meditation. Regardless that Buddhists made up a minority among the board membership, this exceptional award was given to Buddhism. Interestingly, when the winner was announced, not a single Buddhist community came to claim the award. When asked why, a monk from Burma said, "This award does not belong to a particular community. It belongs to all humanity, since Buddha nature lies within each of us." It seems his answer is a little bit difficult to comprehend. A journal called The Merit Times reported this news after rigorous verification, and it was also published in English-speaking journals. However, we, the Buddhists, were not overjoyed for some award given to the Buddhist community. Most Buddhists are not like ordinary people who get excited about winning a trophy. Why didn't any Buddhist participants take the award? I believe that there is a spirit of selflessness in play there. Buddhist teachings neither encourage seeking self-interest nor earning fame. However, it is important that in the whole world, among all schools of philosophy, the truth that Buddhism presents is widely acknowledged. Once you know how extraordinary the truth that Buddhism presents is, then you will know how extraordinary Tantrayana is, as it plays a prominent role in Buddhism. This might not be agreeable by certain Sutrayana teachers, and it is understandable, because in the early days, they rarely had access to tantric teachings. But the more you get to know it, the more you will recognize Tantrayana's extraordinary qualities, its blessings and qualities. Therefore, those with virtuous roots and faith in Mahayana Buddhism should be able to gradually accept Tantrayana. So, I would encourage Dharma friends to start from the fundamental study. The biographies of lineage masters, their activities, basic tantric practices, and other various aspects of Tantrayana, then we can approach the more sophisticated dharmas on the generation and completion stages. Furthermore, the highest practices of Dzogchen or Mahamudra for the importance of systematic practice. We should bear this in mind. Otherwise, we would jump right into the most profound practices without understanding many basic principles of Tantra. Following Tantrayana is much more complicated than learning Qigong. Recently, many practitioners here give me the impression that they have laid a very good foundation for tantric practices through the preliminary practice. I like to interview fellow Dharma teachers and friends. Although I don't have any interview recording equipment, when I see someone on the road, I would just stop them for an interview. Many of them said that they had received lots of Buddhist theories, but in recent years, they have also acquired the tantric teachings and began to practice accordingly. After the actual practice, they truly feel that the realization of impermanence through practice is crucial, as well as the practice of the Guru Yoga and so forth. Once the blessing of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Guru dissolve into your heart, then any practice will become quite easy for you. Otherwise, if you want to reach a certain level of realization with your own conceptual thoughts or theories and debates, it will be rather unattainable. Here, many Dharma friends feel that they have received extraordinary blessing or experienced something special in their hearts, which is very important. Many people now might have already noticed that when you ask the Dharma teachers to confer a tantric teaching, most of the time they will refuse. Even if some teachers might agree, they will require students to start from the basics. So this time, I will give you a brief introduction of the benefits on the Tantrayana's 7-line prayer. But its inner secret and innermost secret practices will remain untouched for now. In the future, when there is a proper opportunity, I may give you some teachings on this level. This time, I will just give a literal interpretation by following Mipham Rinpoche's White Lotus. It's not necessary to quote many scriptural and theoretical references, because even after learning the literal meaning, the wise will know the extraordinary blessing and power of the Vajra words of noble beings. The White Lotus is a commentary of the 7-line prayer composed by Mipham Rinpoche. At the beginning, there is a supplication to Padmasambhava in Sanskrit. Namo Guru Brahma Manjusri Vajra Tikshnaya, holder of the Vajra, you who are in truth all Buddhas of the triple time, lake-born Lord, appearing as an emanation in this world, body of undying wisdom, sovereign of Vidyadharas, Padmakara, O glorious one, protect me now, this wanderer. This is the first verse, a supplication verse, on the nature of Buddhas of the past, present, and future, which is the holder of the Vajra. In front of the sentient beings in this world, the Vajra holder appeared as the lake-born Lord, also known as Padmasambhava. Padmasambhava has attained the undying wisdom, which is to say that he is the sovereign of tens of thousands of Vidyadharas. The glorious Padmasambhava, I beseech you, please protect us, the pitiful beings in this age of degeneration. The more we beseech Padmasambhava, the stronger the blessing we will get from him. When the blessing integrates into our hearts, our practice is bound to succeed without a hitch. Now, at this time, when Buddha Dharma is in decline, evil forces and tatikas become extremely active. Our wrongful attachments and negative thoughts might consume us any time. In such a dark age, without relying on the support of an extraordinary and powerful force, we are confronted with difficult circumstances. If we count on our own feeble effort, we will have a hard time in accomplishing our practice. Therefore, I have called out to Vajra friends again and again to pray to Guru Padmasambhava consistently with fierce conviction. If you do so, your practice will be good from the beginning to the end. The lotus of my heart, endowed with threefold faith, is turned toward the day star of the mighty conqueror and opens in the splendor of blessings. May the honey dewdrops of this explanation sweetly fall and satisfy the wishes of the fortunate. An analogy is used to illustrate how Tathagata's blessing is like sunshine. When the sun ray of Tathagata's blessing radiates, the wisdom lotus of Mipham Rinpoche's faith blossoms. The sunshine makes the lotus blossom, and then the following teachings, which are sweet like delicious honey dewdrops, come naturally. Such teachings can only be enjoyed by the fortunate ones, those who have a special karmic affinity. That is, the sun makes the lotus bloom, and the floral nectar becomes available. Such a sweet and delicious nectar can only be tasted by the fortunate ones. Of all the prayers to the great and glorious Master of Udayana, embodiment of all Buddhas, past, present, and to come, the invocation composed of 7 Vajra verses is supreme. There are many prayers of Guru Rinpoche, but the king of all these prayers is the 7-line prayer. It arose spontaneously as the natural resonance of indestructible ultimate reality and is an immense treasure mine of blessings and accomplishments. This 7-line prayer was not composed by Padmasambhava himself. It is a prayer with which the Buddhas of the 10 directions entreat Padmasambhava. Also, it is a prayer that was emitted naturally from the sky when the blessing and wisdom of Buddhas of the 3 times joined together, just like the Sole Heir of the Doctrine Tantra. This prayer is the source or the treasury of all blessings, merits, and siddhis. Perhaps many of you will understand this after learning about its benefit from this text. I am not touching on the profound inner or secret meanings, even from the outer meaning that Mipham Rinpoche explains here. We can see just how incredible it is. Although it consists of only 7 lines, wise ones will realize the tremendous merit of this prayer. Just because it is so beneficial that in every treasure text of the 108 Tertons of Tibet, you can find the 7-line prayer of Guru Padmasambhava. So, all the prominent masters and monasteries in Tibet, especially in the Nyingma tradition, whenever they assemble for a Dharma practice, they will begin by reciting the 7-line prayer 3 times. Whoever it is, as long as you pray with sincere faith and devotion, Guru Rinpoche and Buddhas of the 10 directions, the 3 roots, and Dharma protectors, and all the other noble beings will gather in front of you, bestow their blessings and empowerments. And as ordinary beings, we are like child beggar roaming about the street among the crowd where no one takes any notice. But if he calls his mother sorrowfully, then his mother will surely show up, bringing him a sense of security and protection. In this dark time of degeneration, even if we really wish for a successful Dharma practice without a setback, there will certainly be challenges along the way. So, I think it is very important to pray to our Lama, Dharma protectors, and deities. The next is a dharma or treasure text that describes the benefit of this prayer to Guru Padmasambhava. I will give you a little explanation. This is a treasure text revealed by Pama Garwan Chime Yungdrung Limpa, also known as Jamgon Khanchu Lodro Teye, the spiritual teacher of Mipham Rinpoche. He was also a great Terton who was in the same period of time with Jamyam Khyentse Wangpo. His biography is documented in the Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism, its fundamentals and history, as well as in many other historical records. He is the author of the 5 great treasures. The Venerable Longchenpa wrote the 7 treasures, whereas he had composed more than 90 volumes of writings. I remember that in his biography, it is said that Jamgon Khanchu Lodro Taye's qualities are incredible. When it comes to his writings, it seems like he spent his entire life writing books. When it comes to the dharmas, he revealed and devoted his whole life into benefiting beings with treasure texts, and so forth. His activities on benefiting beings and propagating dharma are extremely vast and incredible when examined from any angle. In the sadhana of the seven-line prayer taken from a Dharma treasure of his, when I, the lotus that upholds all things, was resting in absorption in the vast primordial expanse, I was invoked by Vajra sound, the play of ultimate reality, a self-arisen melody in 7 lines. I rose then in the boundless majesty of the Sambhogakaya, revealing an array of Buddhas and their space-pervading fields endowed with 5 certainty. As it states in the text, at the beginning, I, Padmasambhava, reside in a lotus. I was abiding in the expanse of Dharma Dhatu, the primordial state free from all fabrications and beyond expression. Then, by the power of the ultimate reality and the merit of being's positive karma, from the play of ultimate reality arose spontaneously the wonderful sound of the 7-line prayer. This melodious supplication made him emerge from the state of Dharmakaya and manifested in the form of Sambhogakaya with boundless power. As we all know, Sambhogakaya has 5 certainties regarding the body, form, disciples, teachings, time, and place. These 5 certainties pervade the vastness of empty space and are manifested in the Buddha field. In the field of Sambhogakaya, it constitutes the 5 certainties, and in a self-arisen way, he teaches the sublime Dharma that is indescribable to his retinue. Above is the description of Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya. Next, then the 5 exalted mothers of the ultimate expanse implore me with a 7-line song to work for being's sake, and therefore, on a lotus blossom raised upon its stem, within the milky ocean in the field of supreme bliss, I was made manifest, renowned as Doctrine, garland with skulls, in the 5-fold lineage. My life and deeds are past imagining. This part is about semi-Nirmanakaya, semi-Sambhogakaya. At that moment, mothers of the 5 families, say the Mamaki of the Ratna family, Buddhalokana of the Vajra family, Datvashvari of the Buddha family, Pandavarasini of the Pama family, and Samayatara of the Karma family, sang harmoniously in one voice of the Vajra 7-line prayer to supplicate to the Sambhogakaya of Padmasambhava for the welfare of sentient beings. At that moment, the milky ocean in the western Buddha field of bliss, there emerged a lotus blossom. On top of this lotus flower, Guru Padmasambhava manifested himself. This is to be known as Bema Trichintel, manifested in the form of 5-fold lineage. Lotus born of the Buddha family and lotus born of the Vajra family, and so on. Lotus born of the 5 Buddha families, his enlightened activities are limitless and boundless. Generally speaking, Guru Padmasambhava in the land of bliss benefits sentient beings in a manner of semi-Nirmanakaya and semi-Sambhogakaya. And here it continues, and then 100 million wisdom dakinis with one voice called to me, that I might propagate the doctrine of the secret mantra, entreating me with 7-line song to come to this world, the field that Shakyamuni tamed. And so, in Urjin's land, the cradle of the mantra, on Dhanakosha lake, upon a wondrous lotus raised upon its stem, appearing from the field of bliss, I came. As lake-born Vajra, I am therefore known. Then 100 million wisdom dakinis, countless in numbers, supplicated the 7-line prayer melodiously all together. What were they supplicating for? They prayed that in the land that Buddha Shakyamuni tames, Jambudvipa, Guru Padmasambhava to spread the supreme Vajrayana there. Coming from the Buddha field of ultimate bliss to this world. Thus they prayed, and then the proper causes and conditions were in place. Within the field of Buddha Shakyamunis, in the land of Udayana, or the cradle of the Mantrayana in present-day Afghanistan. An island there set the Lake Dhanakosha. From this lake arose a very rare lotus, From the pistil of the flower magically appeared the syllable 3 from the heart of Amitabha, a Buddha feel of the ultimate bliss. The syllable in the lotus pistil in Lake Dhanakosha transformed into a young boy. Later, when King Indrabhuti came to this lake, he found the boy and then installed him as the crown prince. That's the origin of the name, Lake-born Vajra, one of the epithets of Padmasambhava. He came to Jambudeva in the form of Namanakaya in an emanation. If to elaborate on the life of Guru Padmasambhava, as it is said in many teachings of many great masters, he is the joint manifestation of Amitabha, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Avalokiteshvara. Let alone ordinary people, even some bodhisattvas might find it difficult to accept his indescribable acts. In the Tibetan history, there are many debates about the length of time that Guru Padmasambhava stayed in Tibet. Some suggested that he stayed for 3 months, 6 months, 12, or 18 months. Others say 3 years, 6 years, or even 12 years, even 50 years, or 111 years, and so on. There are many different claims. But the most widely accepted opinion, as recorded in Doctrine Rinpoche's, the Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism, its fundamentals and history, says that in front of most Tibetan people and fortunate beings, Guru Padmasambhava manifested to live in Tibet for more than 50 years. When King Trisong Detsen was 21 years old, Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet. The king died at the age of 59. After his death, Guru Rinpoche stayed in Tibet for another 16 years. This claim is clearly documented in Dendren Rinpoche's record of history. If this is the case, then why do some historical documents suggest differently that Padmasambhava stayed in Tibet for such a short period of time? Dendren Rinpoche explains further that Guru Rinpoche appeared to stay for a much shorter time in front of evil ministers with wrong views. In fact, Guru Rinpoche had traveled and bestowed his blessing across the land of snow. Why is Tibetan Buddhism still so prosperous and complete nowadays? Why have other non-Buddhist traditions failed to influence Tibet? It is Padmasambhava's inconceivable power and the blessing of many Dharma protectors that safeguard this land. Since Guru Padmasambhava demonstrated such greatness in protecting Dharma activities, if you want protection for your Dharma center or for your own Dharma practice, praying to Guru Padmasambhava consistently is crucial. As a matter of fact, in the Tibetan area or even in the mainland area, there are many great masters who hold the practice of Padmasambhava with high regard. In the old days, some practitioners also did such practice secretly in prison, like some practitioners of Han Buddhism, including certain Chan masters. It was only after they passed away did people discover they also performed tantric practice, especially the practice of Padmasambhava. Among the disciples of Nola Rinpoche and Gangkar Rinpoche, there are a few similar cases, so we should come to the understanding, just as taught in the verses, on how Guru Rinpoche manifested in this world in front of us. Revealing marvels inconceivable, my wondrous forms are infinite. For Dakinis and Dakas of the lake, the secret essence of the greatly secret teachings I set forth, 100 million tantras, agamas, and instructions of the magic net of Padma to help the living and all those who yet will come. According to their different inclinations, these doctrines all have been distilled. This section explains that Padmasambhava came to the human realm and displayed various wondrous forms in front of sentient beings. He benefited beings with various magnificent manifestations, especially for the sake of beings of that time and onwards, beings of different capacities and inclinations. like dakinis, Vajradhakas, and human beings. Padmasambhava taught the secret essence of Dharma that are countless and inconceivable, such as the magic net of Padma and many sutras, tantras, theories, pith instructions, and so forth. He taught a great number of Dharma to different beings. In sadhanas upon myself, the Guru, myself the embodiment of the 3 roots, the prayer in 7 lines is the root of all these sadhanas. Within the ground, these lines denote the 7 kinds of consciousness. Upon the path, they represent the 7 branches of enlightenment. And when the fruit is worn, they are perfected as the 7 sacred riches of the ultimate. As mentioned above, to sentient beings of different inclinations, he taught the incredible sutras, tantras, and instructions. But if to generalize all these dharmas, they are in fact the 3 roots, Guru, Dakini, and Yidam. Again, if to categorize these dharmas, then they can all be encompassed in the practices of Guru Padmasambhava. As for Guru Padmasambhava's practices, in each Dharma text and in the composition of each master, the practice is different. For example, there are practices of the peaceful Padmasambhava and the wrathful Padmasambhava. Regarding the practice of peaceful Padmasambhava, every Dharma offers a different sadhana. But if we sum these up again, or essentially the 7-line prayer, many practitioners do not know how to practice these different Guru Rinpoche sadhanas, but we should have no problem in chanting the 7-line prayer. But he thought that it's all fine as that was the way to chant from his lama. If it was passed down from the lama, then it's fine. Each region had its own dialect and accent. Sometimes we see that people from Lhasa and its surrounding regions chant differently than that of Kham, Dokam, or other places. It seems that different places carry different accents. A while ago in our study on the Vajrakhilaya mantra, a story proves that as long as your mind is pure, the pronunciation wouldn't be a problem. Otherwise, it is difficult to set a standard pronunciation. Take Om Mani Padme Hum Shi, for example. If there is no standard Mandarin and we ask someone from Hong Kong to recite it, or someone who doesn't speak Mandarin Chinese often, like a person from Canton or a person from Gansu, Sichuan, or someone from places where different dialects are used, then each person would probably pronounce this mantra differently. So we cannot say that the pronunciation of people from Gansu is standardized, while the pronunciation of people from Hong Kong is not. Different regions have different dialects, and thus they pronounce differently. Anyway, this 7-line prayer includes all practices of the Guru, Yidam, and so forth. This 7-line prayer includes the essence of the ground, path, and the fruition. On the level of ground, it encompasses all the dharmas involving the 7 kinds of consciousness. On the level of path, it covers all the dharmas involving the 7 elements for enlightenment. And on the level of fruition, it covers all the dharmas involving the 7 sacred riches of the ultimate. Thus, this prayer is all-encompassing. If thus you simply call upon me with this melody of Vajra sound, I, Padma, cannot help but come to you. I will give to you my blessings and will grant empowerment of great primordial wisdom. With the Vajra 7-line prayer, if you entreat me, supplicate me with a pleasant and melodious sound, then I, Padmasambhava, will immediately come to you, cannot help but come to you. These are Vajra words. It means to appear immediately in front of you and grant you blessings and empowerments of great wisdom. Nowadays, there are many practitioners who cannot find lamas to give empowerments, so they are always asking around. Many lamas are very busy or have health issues that they can't arrange empowerments. If that is the case, then you can ask Guru Rinpoche for empowerments. Recite the 7-line prayer every day. Then his wisdom body will come to you and give you empowerments. As long as we have faith, we will definitely receive his blessings and empowerments, as taught in the verse. It is the empowerment of wisdom. The multitudes of deities of the 3 roots will gather like clouds to grant unhindered, common, and supreme accomplishment. And in your waking life, or in your meditation, or in the visions of your dreams, you will encounter me. Swirls of rainbow light, you will see and smell sweet scents. When we supplicate by reciting the 7-line prayer, the 3 roots of the Guru, Idams, and Dakas will gather like clouds, appearing in front of us to grant us blessings. They will bestow the common and the extraordinary siddhis unobstructedly. Through such practice, we will receive the blessing from Padmasambhava and many deities. Such feelings, experiences, and perceptions might occur at any time, even in dreams. While I was translating this text the other day, I do not dare to say in my waking life, but constantly in the visions of my dreams, Padmasambhava appeared many times. But I'm not suggesting that I have a higher realization or anything. Just as the Venerable Longchenpa said in his treasury of pith instructions, if one practices the Dharma, then certainly he will receive 6 types of qualities. I cannot recall the words exactly, but if you practice the Dharma, rest assured that you will receive the blessings. With devotion, everyone can receive certain blessings or empowerments. It's the matter that we don't practice. If we do, everybody can surely benefit from something in return. Sometimes you might see rainbow lights or smell sweet scents around your meditation room. And hear celestial arise and gentle tapping of the Dhammaru, your body, speech, and mind with blessings drenched, you will gain realization in a single leap by virtue of the strength of your awareness. 8 classes of proud spirits will be subject to your word. If you practice the 7-line prayer like this, then you will often hear the sound of the Dhammaru from the celestial beings, and the sound of instruments performed by Dharma protectors and Dakas. Back then, around the caves or cabins where practitioners were in solitary retreat, various kinds of auspicious sounds can be heard quite often. Also, your body and speech will be greatly blessed. If your body suffers a lot through practice, the body will become very pliable and relaxed. If you are careless with your speech through this practice, your speech will become soft and gentle. The same goes for your mind. If you trouble with deep-rooted negative emotions, then through Guru Padmasambhava's empowerment, a very strong and powerful blessing will dissolve into your mind. Consequently, all your greed, anger, and ignorance will transform tremendously. This is very obvious among many practitioners. Some people change very quickly by the blessings of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that integrate into our minds. Individuals with sharper capacities will immediately gain an intrinsic awareness, becoming enlightened instantly and realizing the true reality. Then, 8 classes of the proud spirits will comply with your command. Not only will they not harm you in any way, as well they will become your protectors with immediate support, as your Dharma activities will prosper. All you thus linked with me will gain my blessings power and swift to gain attainment as Vidyadharas. You will never part from me, the lotus-born Samaya. If you practice through this prayer of Padmasambhava, you will benefit the countless beings with whom you have formed a bond with. At the moment, some of you are not capable of helping others, but when your Dharma practice reaches a certain level, those who were kind or mean to you, anyone who makes a good or bad karmic bond with you will benefit from you, and you will gain great power and abilities. When certain people talk, their words are ineffective and their determination is easily shaken. It seems like whenever they want to do something meaningful, they will encounter great obstacles and fail to accomplish their tasks. Why? This may be due to their strong karmic obstacles or the influence of spirits or demons that will come to disturb their minds. With such extraordinary sadhana, we can acquire the ability to swiftly attain the state of Vidyadhara and become no different from Padmasambhava himself. Then the next verse reads, the three roots, I myself personify the Vajra from a rose from the lake, appearing as a magic net of emanations, if you pray to me according to your aspirations. He said, I am the true embodiment of the three roots. I, Padmasambhava, am in truth the three roots. In front of sentient beings, my Vajra body appeared from the lotus ocean. In front of sentient beings, I appear as a magic net of emanations. If we generate faith in all his qualities and pray to him, Padmasambhava has said, I will grant accomplishments that correspond to them. For you, who is now king and subjects, and for the sake of my disciples yet to come, I teach with love the essence of my heart. If we pray, we will get the corresponding accomplishments. The most excellent supplicants will receive the most supreme empowerment and blessings. Mediocre supplicants will gain mediocre blessings. So, in order to benefit the kings and subjects of that time, as well as future disciples, Guru Rinpoche imparted great compassionate instructions that is like the essence of his heart, not divulged, but as deep treasure. It must now be hid. In evil times to come, my own disciple will appear. And at that time, endowed with wisdom, through the power of Vairocana's prayer, he will reveal this means of taming beings, gleaming with symbolic lettering of light. Thus far and wide will spread a source of help for wanderers, samaya. This particular instruction of Guru Rinpoche was not disseminated widely at that time. Instead, it was concealed as treasure text. He prophesied that his disciples in the future time of degeneration, through Vairocana's power of aspiration, this teaching will appear in the way of symbolic lettering of light or Dakini script. There are many extraordinary sadhanas of the civil line prayer, such as Control Rinpoche's sadhana or others, that are concealed in oceans, in mid-air, or in sacred mountains, and so on. According to some historical records, after Padmasambhava left for the Rakshasa kingdom, Yeshitsokya spent 100 years to conceal Guru Rinpoche's profound teachings. Everything was concealed and hidden. Later, Nyak Janakumara Vairocana, Nang Yashi Doje, Vimalabh Mitra, and more also concealed many supreme tantric teachings. These teachings were revealed by great Tirthans at appropriate times. Regarding dharmas, when the time is right, I will give you a teaching on the exceptional features of dharmas. In fact, treasure texts do exist in Sutrayana. In his writing, Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism, Rinpoche Rinpoche quoted from many texts. For example, the Sutra of River Games to support this point. In Sutrayana, some of Buddha Shakyamuni's special teachings were concealed in a place. In the future, a designated one will come and uncover them. Although this idea isn't widely introduced in Sutrayana, it is very common in Guru Rinpoche's teachings. If we read the treasure texts of those great dirtons, we will generate a great conviction. In Tibetan Buddhism, there are 108 respected and renowned dirtons. There is a collection of biographies about great dirtons, as well in the history books of Buddhism, such as Dundren Rinpoche's Nyingma School of Tibetan Buddhism. Biographies of some dirtons are included, such as Jigme Limpa, Khantu Rinpoche, Jangyang, Khenche Wangpo, Mipa Rinpoche, and so forth, who are all great dirtons. If we understand the profound impact of Tibetan Buddhism's treasure text and the differences between the long oral transmission and short transmission, we will generate great devotion towards dharmas. The short transmission is completely pure and free from any defilements, such as the breaking of samayas, the broken relationship between teachers and disciples. All these dharma teachings were directly blessed by Padmasambhava and concealed somewhere. Meanwhile, he would appoint a designated disciple as the future revealer to retrieve it. And consequently, by the power of Guru Rinpoche's aspiration, and this disciple's will of intent and realization, when all the right conditions, timing, location, and other favorable elements come together, these texts will be uncovered for the welfare of all beings. So we should be aware that many of Padmasambhava's practices were dharmas, later being revealed by Tertons in specific places. Sometimes Tertons will recall their past lives to reveal dharmas. Once, His Holiness Jigme Phuntsol Rinpoche visited Parataksan in Bhutan, a place where Padmasambhava manifested in the wrathful form and rode on the back of a tigress to subjugate demonic beings. When His Holiness visited, he revealed a dharma of a wrathful Padmasambhava's practice. This is recorded in his biography, and you can take a look. Tantra practice is beyond what our conceptual mind can comprehend. There are much more profound meanings. As Vajrayana followers, we have to know this. Now, with regard to the content of the text, I will only make a concise explanation. This time, I will not give extensive teaching. My intention is to give those who have faith in Vajrayana a word-for-word explanation, so that they can understand what kind of qualities this 7-line prayer offers. After we complete this teaching, many people might recite this prayer on a daily basis, whether they are walking or eating. Sometimes, after reading a book, I would generate a deep conviction. Then, as ordinary beings, our minds change easily as time passes. But once you have the fundamental understanding, you won't lose the confidence despite adversity. So I think that for most people, it is very much important to pray to Padmasambhava during the age of degeneration. I hope that you could reflect on this point. It's not because we are followers of Tibetan Buddhism that we must propagate Tibetan Buddhism. As long as they are beneficial to sentient beings, whether they are Buddhist teachings or non-Buddhist teachings, all deserve to be promoted equally. This is the supreme goal. Therefore, what is the most meaningful teaching for each living being? This question is undoubtedly worthwhile to contemplate. Okay, and that's all for today.